Here we go.
I was excited for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire as a fan of the previous installment. I think what that previous movie did so well is that it felt like a flashback to adventure movies that we really don't get anymore nowadays, something very Spielberg-esque. This time around, you do have a new director. Jason Reitman was returning to write and produce, though. So I'm not going to lie, that did have me a little bit worried going into it. And it's a shame that this movie did not live up to my expectations. It was a severe disappointment for a load of reasons. But as we get into the rest of the review, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy it, and comment down below what are your thoughts or expectations for this movie. But let's keep talking about it. The number one issue I have with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is that it thinks that going bigger is better. I feel like there's often movies, specifically sequels, that tend to have or fall victim to this. It's a jumbled mess of a movie. There are too many characters with too many subplots. The movie doesn't really know what it wants to be in terms of a movie in general. A lot of people are comparing it to what it feels like an episode of the Ghostbusters animated show. I personally can't make that comparison. I haven't seen it. I can see kind of where they're coming from, though, because it does feel more cartoonish in a way. And honestly, even going further than that, it feels like a whole season worth of a show compiled into just a 2-hour movie. There's one key subplot with McKenna Grace's character that I didn't really care for. It felt like they were kind of holding back a little bit. There were some romantic undertones that weren't fully fleshed out or fully explored. I think that could have helped propel the subplot a little bit more into a realm where I was getting a little bit more invested. But in the end, it ended up falling flat simply because I just didn't really care for it all too much. At times, this feels like a lifeless sequel, really lacking the charm of the Ghostbusters Afterlife film. It doesn't really feel like there's any sort of sense of momentum. It kind of just feels like the movie's meandering for a lot. It kind of opens up right out of the gate with an action sequence, and then from there, the movie just comes to a screeching halt, and the movie never really picks up pace again until I guess you could say the final battle, and then the movie's over. To say the least, it struggled to keep me engaged. I constantly was checking the time, waiting for the movie to be over. It felt much longer than it actually was. If I were to give props to this movie for one key thing, I think that there are some more intense moments than previous movies in the franchise, because I think it just has a better grasp of the horror-ish aspects. I think the original movie did a good job of it, and Afterlife did a good job showing at what this franchise could go in terms of like getting darker with its thriller, horror-ish elements, and I think this movie has a good balance of it. But this movie almost damn near lost me when they, without getting into spoilers, introduced a character with superpowers, and that's going to be kind of vague until you see the movie. You'll know what I'm talking about. It was just too outlandish for this universe. I understand that these movies are about characters busting ghosts, but when you introduce a character that has the ability to like harness fire and the ability to eventually use it against the big villain, it feels like we're going into the MCU now. We're going into a DC movie. I wasn't a fan of it. I also feel like there just wasn't enough of my two favorite parts about the Ghostbusters movie, probably Paul Rudd and Bill Murray. They felt underutilized. As a whole, I think the core family aspect that was so prevalent in the first movie is kind of gone here, because there is a handful of characters and they all need their time to shine. They all need their time to explore the subplots. It's all too much. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire at times feels like there is one too many cooks in the kitchen, as you could say. I think there was a lot that they were trying to tackle in this movie, and simply not all of it needed to be there. In all honesty, you could have trimmed a lot from this movie, like I said, and then make a third movie, which they might end up doing depending on the success of this movie. But I think there's 2 movies in here. It lacks the charm of Afterlife. It simply struggles to maintain focus, and it just goes too big. I think the Afterlife really worked when it was set in a rural town with new characters. Obviously, it kind of does a little bit of what the original movie from the 80s did, setting up a new team of Ghostbusters. But I didn't complain about that with Afterlife. I found that actually worked in the movie's favor, going back to basics. This is a real disappointment, and it's a shame for me to come out of this movie feeling that way, really. I'm going to give Ghostbusters Frozen Empire a C-, and if you really are a diehard fan or truly interested in seeing this movie, I'd say you could stream it. Otherwise, skip this one. Maybe I'm in the minority on this one. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to thank you so much for watching this review, and again, if you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as that notification bell so you don't miss any further videos, and as always, look forward to more videos and reviews coming soon. My name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.